Welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio, hippies. Yes, some of you enjoyed our latest homeroom, didn't you?
Yeah, you said hippies. Oh, no.
I did. I said hippies. So check it out, hippies. We are ready to rock and roll for yet another excursion into Student of the Gun Radio. We're glad that you have decided to join us. Jared, are you willing to stick with me for the whole episode this time?
I am. I've decided that I will no longer multitask. I will focus on the task at hand.
Well, which is Student of the Gun Radio.
And thank you guys for listening. We want to thank our sponsors.
Well, we do want to thank our sponsors. We always want to do that. We had a fantastic week this week. We've been working out like crazy fiends, using the SWAT fuel. And we wanted to just, when we're talking about SWAT fuel, make sure that you guys out there, because we know that our audience, or at least some of the people in our audience, are entrepreneurs, are small business owners.
Say that one more time.
Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Small business owners, teachers, instructors, and so forth. People that have gyms, schools, dojos. You may even have your own ludus, but which, by the way, is Latin for school. But if you have a gym, a school, whatever, you might want to look into SWAT Fuel's distributor pricing. They have, if you're got a little shop there, a little pro shop in the front of your gym or the front of your dojo or in your school, you may consider contacting SWAT Fuel and checking into their distributor pricing. So we just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that they actually do that, because we know a lot of you guys out there, maybe not a lot. What do you think, Jared? 5%? I don't know.
5% could be a lot, depending on...
5% could be a lot.
Yeah, depends on your
But
perception.
if you're just an average Joe like Jared and I, and you want to go ahead and pick up some SWAT Fuel, make sure when you go to SWATfuel.com and you place your order that you use the special promo code SOTG, like Student of the Gun. How cool is that? 2014. SOTG 2014, and that'll get you 20% off your purchase, your total purchase from SWATfuel.com. Now, don't forget about Brownells and the Brownells promo code. Now, it's coming up towards the end of this month. It's almost the end of August. But you guys have got until August 30th to use the Brownells promo code PEV, or Papa Echo Victor. And if you use that, you'll get $10 off of any order of $50 or more from Brownells.com. So take advantage of that during the next week. What is it, Jared? When this is going up on the 25th, right? Yeah, it's airing on the 25th.
Yeah, it'll be 25th of
So
August.
by the time you hear this, you guys are going to have basically 5 days left. So jump on that. But fear not, because what we're going to have as we move into September, we'll have a different promo code from Brownells with a different bonus for you guys in the Student of the Gun audience. Now, if you are a hip cat or a hip chick, you may have already checked out Student of the Gun TV. Now, this coming Monday, as you hear this, right, Jared? If you're listening to this on Monday the 25th, what you'll be able to do, if it's not yet 9 p.m. Eastern, is you'll be able to swing over to the Hunt channel, which is Dish 266, or you can watch on Roku. If you've got your Roku app, you're on your smart TV. And what are they going to be able to see from our buddies at Colt?
The LE901.
That's right. We did an entire segment for the show where we explained, and used and demonstrated and got out to the range and humped around the woods and so forth with the Colt LE901 rifle.
If you guys want to see how fast you can change from a 223 upper to a 308 upper, watch the show. And I didn't even speed it up at all. There's no video magic. No, it was just I just ran it because it was so fast.
Yeah, you can. The LE901 it comes standard in 308, but you can purchase a 5.56 upper for it and shoot. Basically, all you have to do is you have to change out the buffer and buffer tube and the upper receiver, and use different magazines, obviously. And you've got 2 rifles in one, so it's a cool deal. Now, as this is part 1 of episode 80. This is kind of a milestone, 80 episodes we've done so far. But as this is part 1, that means we're going to have our Excess Sights Good Guy of the Week question. And Jairus, tell us, not only tell us who our Good Guy of the Week is, but tell us where their question came from and what exactly it's all about.
Our Good Guy this week posted his question to the forum, which is forums, forums.studentofthegun.com. You can go there. We've got a little thread opened up specifically for the XS Good Guy. So Eric is our winner this week. And Eric, I need you to send me your address, your shirt size, and your phone number to my email address, which is Jarrad, Jarrad, @studentofthegun.com. And Eric says, I've been reading a lot about the color code system, i.e. condition white, yellow, orange, red, black, with regards to a stressful event or being prepared for a stressful event, attack, etc. It seems that the goal is to be prepared so you can avoid going into condition black. What is a good way to train for this? Is it just normal training so you can go on a muscle memory and autopilot if a situation arises, or is there something more we can do to keep from going to condition black when it hits the fan?
All right. Let's real quick hip everyone to, because some of you young guys aren't going to know what color code systems or color code conditions is. This is something, again, that harkens back to the old original Gunsight days and Colonel Jeff Cooper. Colonel Cooper did probably the best job explaining the color code conditions of awareness. And you're like, well, is this like the post 9/11 orange, yellow, green, blue kind of thing? Well, no, not really. Jeff Cooper was using the color code system of awareness probably 40 years before 9/11 happened. But essentially, it's this. It starts with the lightest, or the bottom is white. Now, condition white means you're not prepared for a fight. You're not looking for a fight. You're not ready for a fight. You are basically in your comfort zone. And the way Jeff explained it is, you just think about it like this. You're in your house. You got your feet propped up in your favorite lazy boy chair. You're watching TV, and you're just totally relaxed, decompressed. You're not in any manner, shape, or form ready for a fight or even thinking about fighting. And that's cool because you're in your own home. You're in your domicile. Now, condition yellow essentially means that you don't see a specific fight or a specific problem or a specific issue. However, you are paying attention to your surroundings. You've got your head up. You're aware of what's going on around you. And the way Jeff would explain it is, this is where you need to be when you walk out of your front door. Anytime you walk out of your front door and you're out in public, you need to be in condition yellow. Now, what is orange? Orange is, I see a situation or I see an area that requires my attention. Now, I don't know yet that whatever it is that has caught my attention is necessarily a threat, but there is something. I've been paying attention. I'm looking around. This is kind of like you're walking through the parking lot from the store to get back to your car. And from your left side, you catch somebody as they're cutting through, the parking lot. They're cutting between cars, and they're walking towards you, not towards the store. They're walking towards you. And so, bingo, immediately you're like, all right, this is something that's going to require my attention. I need to kind of focus on this potential threat. I don't know it's a threat, but I need to focus on it. So that's something that has grabbed your attention. Now you're focusing on it. It may not be a threat, but then again, it may. Now, red is when it has materialized and has become a definite threat. It's a threat. You realize, hey, I have to deal with this person, the situation, whatever it happens to be. I can't ignore it. I've got to deal with it. All right. And that is when you come to the situation. Now, as Jeff would say that red doesn't mean you fired your gun or shot or your weapon. It means that you are prepared that you're right there, that you're in that position where you realize it's maybe go time. Now, the original color code that I was taught, it did not have condition black in it, but I've talked about black, and a lot of guys, instructors, have talked about it over the years about what is condition black. If you've got condition white where you're completely unaware, or as you're not paying attention looking for a fight, then the exact opposite in the other direction is condition black. And what a lot of people will say, condition black is essentially a kind of a freak out or a panic or a freeze, where you're so overwhelmed by the incoming sensations, by the incoming stimuli, that you just freeze up. You do nothing. You're helpless to defend yourself. And you see this in people who have never encountered a lethal force threat or any kind of a violent threat. Or, even if it's not a violent attack, it could be an accident or a crash or, an industrial accident, an injury or something. And they're so overwhelmed by the events that rather than, going through the steps that it would take to deal with it, they just freeze. And you may have been on the scene of an accident or a crash or something, and there's somebody just standing there, and you're thinking to yourself, what is this dude just doing just standing here? Do something, dude. And they're not. They're just kind of like, I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. So that's condition black. Now on to the specific question about how do we deal with condition black or keeping ourselves from getting into condition black. Well, it's actually not that difficult if you first have learned about the color codes. And I'll give you a quick caveat, though. A lot of people that are neophytes or they're new or they're skeptical or whatever, they hear about the color code thing. And for whatever reason, they believe that every time they move around or as they're moving around, their mind is telling them, okay, white, yellow, orange, red, back to white, back to yellow, back to orange, red, white. No. You're not walking around thinking, I'm in condition orange, I'm in condition red, I'm whatever. No, the whole purpose of the color codes was basically just to make it easy on your human brain to understand the steps that you go to leading up to being prepared to fight. And if you've done that, if you've actually studied it, and if you understand it, or at least understand the premise behind it, then you don't have to really worry about the going into black because you've already conditioned your mind to understand the flow. You realize, okay, I'm paying attention, what's going on around me. I see something that may be a threat. I focus on that thing. And then I realize as I've focused on it, as I've considered that person, thing, object, whatever it is, that it absolutely is a threat. And now I have to deal with it. Well, you've done all those things. You've mentally conditioned yourself and you've mentally prepared yourself to deal with them. And condition black is basically the mind's inability to deal with the problem at hand, whatever that problem has to be. Happens to be a bleeding person, a crash, somebody with a gun or a knife that's trying to hurt you. And that is, so there's no real super special training to keep yourself out of condition black. Now, when I say no super special training, what I mean is you want to get into a quality program. You want to get into a program that deals with mental preparedness and mindset. Jared, that's something we've been talking about this week, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely mindset.
Where people have kind of, folks that go out and they think that somehow that mindset is somehow purchasing gear. I've purchased all the stuff that I need, so now I'm ready to go. Well, no, that's not it at all. Oh.
And we've covered several stories where the people, there was, say, a home invader, that woman, she didn't have any gear, but she had the mindset that she wasn't going to be a victim. So she took care of business without the gear and just the mindset, and you can do that too.
Yeah, exactly. Or you see a situation where you're like, how did this person lose? They had all the stuff that was there. They had all the tools available to them, but they didn't have the mindset. And that's really what the understanding and considering the color code system is. It's getting your mind right and understanding what you need to do. And any quality school, and if you're a student of the gun, you're just nodding your head and you're like, I dig it, Paul. I understand, but any place you can go and learn how to shoot. And some places you can go and learn when to shoot. And very, very few places address the what now. And that's what we've been stressing this for how many years now, Jared? A lot of years. We've stressed this for several years. But that's one of the big things that we stress in the Armed Living DVD is not only the how and when, but the what now of lethal force encounters and shooting. Because let's face it, you can't just shoot your gun, shoot a bad guy, high five your buddy, and woo, let's go get a beer, man. Woo, I smoked that dude. We're out of here. It's not how it works.
If you haven't seen the Armed Living DVD yet, you need to do that. there's so much information in there. You would pay literally thousands of dollars to get that information in person, and we've got it for a very low price.
Well, yeah, and you
$24.95.
Almost 30 years worth of experience.
Yeah, 30
piled
years worth
into
of
that
experience.
DVD.
And you can go to gumroad.com, GUMROAD.com/student of the gun, and pick up the Arm Living DVD. If you already have the DVD, then pick up the extra hour of radio. And if you already have both, thank you.
Congratulations, you're a ninja. But and if you go to Student of the Gun Radio, all those words mushed together, studentofthegunradio.com, in every week's show notes, it says bonus third hour. Click here, and that's the Gumroad. And what you guys will be learning here, if you haven't learned it already in the near future, is what we're using. We're using the avenue of Gumroad to provide you guys with instantly downloadable, instantly streaming material. Material that you can get right now, quick, fast, in a hurry, immediately. Because let's face it, that is the future. That is not, well, somebody corrected me the other day. They're like, no, Paul, it's not the future, it's now.
For the firearms industry, it's the future. For
Yeah.
everybody else, it's now.
For the gun industry, it's something in the future. For the whole rest of the world, we make really cool guns and all that stuff, but our industry as a whole tends to kind of lag behind the rest of the world as far as technological advancements, especially when it comes to delivering material.
Well, you want to know why?
Why?
It's because gun people will never be computer people.
Yeah, gun people will never be computer people, and you know what, Jared? If you guys are serious listeners, you know what Jared's referring to. I had someone tell me it was like 1995. Someone in the firearms industry told me that gun people are not computer people, and they never will be. And he wasn't going to make his information for his company available on a computer format.
So, Eric, thank you for the question. And what was the point of what were the learning points of that there?
Well, the learning points is number one, if you're serious about your craft, then you need to go ahead and get yourself into a school somewhere. We would love to host you guys down here in Free America. If you can't make it to Free America, you go to, Tennessee Free America or Ohio, or if you are stuck behind the Iron Curtain and you're in the People's Republic of California, there actually is a really good instructor in Southern California. His name's Scotty Reitz, and he runs the ITTS, International Tactical Training Schools there in California. Scotty's classes, I took a 3 or 4 day sniper program from him a few years ago. I was very impressed by him, and he's got a good book out too. But Jared, do you want to talk about getting out of your pond? Do we have time to do that?
How long are you going to talk about this school stuff?
Well, I don't know, just a little bit. I mean,
Okay,
we're kind of on the topic.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it, and I'll let you know when we're getting.
You'll let me know when I have to stop talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate you.
I'll do that.
You'll do that for me. No, since we're talking about, color codes, and yeah, of course, if you're out in the Arizona area, you can go to Gunsight Academy up in Prescott, or just outside of Prescott, Arizona. It's one of the oldest, I guess it is. I don't know if it's the oldest. I know somebody's going to jump in like, that's not the oldest. Well, if it's not the oldest, it's one of the oldest professional shooting academies in the United States of America that's still running. But people say, well, I can't travel to go to a gun school. Do you travel to go on vacation? Do you? Well, yeah. Do you go to Myrtle Beach? Do you go to Florida? Do you go to Cancun? Do you go to the Ozarks? Do you go to the mountains? Well, yeah. Well, okay. So you can travel to do something leisurely, but you can't travel to invest in yourself.
This is my advice if you have a spouse and maybe children. Take your vacation, take a week, come down to Biloxi. There's plenty of stuff to do for you, your spouse, your child. There's beaches. Take a 2-day class from us and then stay, hang out a little bit and go out to the islands. There's plenty of stuff to do down here. We got the casinos. We got What else we got?
You got
Good
we got
food.
charter fishing. You got,
we got
you could
charter
you could do a
fishing.
charter fishing. If you guys haven't ever done any kind of charter boat fishing, you can do that from here. You can go out to Ship Island. You can take the ferry out to the Barrier Islands.
There's an insane amount of history.
Yeah,
You got New Orleans. You got Mobile. You got the battleship over there in Alabama.
Yeah, the USS Alabama battleship memorial is actually in Mobile Bay, which is a 1-hour drive from here. New Orleans is a 90-minute drive from my front porch. I can be to Bourbon Street in 90 minutes. So there's a lot to do down here on the Gulf Coast. But what I'm going to tell you guys is this: look. We talked about muscles before. We've talked about how do you improve your muscles. Well, you improve your muscles by making them uncomfortable, right, Jared?
I was gonna say you don't ever exercise them, you don't ever use them, and they just get better, right?
They get stronger, and the more sedate you are, the more you sit motionless, the stronger your muscles get.
No, of course not.
So. If you're serious about your craft, if you're serious about improving, if you're serious about investing in yourself, and that's what training is. When you take professional training, you are investing in yourself. You're not investing in me or Jared or anyone else. You're not investing in your spouse. You're investing in yourself. And you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I worth the investment? Am I worth the time and the effort? And maybe, you say, no, I'm not. I'm not worth the time and the effort. Hopefully you won't, though. Hopefully you'll look in the mirror and you'll say, you know what, I am worth the time and the effort. When I was 19 years old, I scrimped and saved, and I traveled from Ohio to Aspen, Colorado, and took I took a lot of training, but one of the things I did was a 40-hour training class from John Farnham, and it was probably it was the absolute cornerstone of my career as a professional gun person. And I did that when I was 19 years old. And I got out there and I had basically the equivalent of $15 a day to eat on. And I was a broke kid, but the experience I got was invaluable. It was worth a lifetime. You're saying, well, I live in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and there should be a tactical response branch near me, or there should be a student of the gun branch near me, or there should be a TDI or a gun sight branch near me. It doesn't work like that, folks. If you think it's worth the investment, get out of your easy chair, leave your comfort zone, get out of the comfort of your own pond, and travel. Get some experience under your butts. Go to Ohio, go to Tennessee, go to Arizona, go to wherever. I mean, if you're up in slave state territory, you can go to the SIG Academy.
I'm going to use fighters as an example. They all have their home gym. All the big name fighters like Randy Couture, Matt Hughes, they have a gym that is theirs. And before that, and they probably still do it when they have fights. Randy Couture and Matt Hughes obviously don't really fight anymore, but the big name people, they travel to other people's gyms, or they bring other people into their gym. And once you get big enough name, you can obviously bring people to you. But the fighters, they travel. They go from freaking Utah to Florida to train with American Top Team. Mm. And that's what they do. That's how they better themselves. That's how they get the advantage on their opponent.
Well, in the fighter arena, in the UFC arena or the MMA arena, you always have that guy who's the best guy in his gym. And you encounter these people at the local level fights. It's like, Johnny is the best fighter in his gym. Okay, well, what does that mean? Oh, big deal. He's the best fighter in his gym where there's 18 people. But does that mean he's going to be able to get into the ring or get into the cage and actually perform? And that's kind of a gut check. I know it's scary out there. Sometimes it's scary to leave the comfort of your own pond, of your own gym, of your own dojo, and go out into the world. But if you're serious, that's what you need to do. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then let's face it, you're not really all that serious. And that's cool, too. You don't have to be. This is a fun hobby for you, then go crazy, man. It's a fun hobby for you. But it's an intellectual honesty thing.
I remember when we trained with John Saylor up there in Ohio, that one of the things he said was that when you're training in your home gym, he said everybody pretty much progresses at the same rate. which generally, people progress faster than other people. But in that same gym, you've got everybody that you're always with, and you don't really figure out how much you've actually improved until you go somewhere else and train with people that you don't train with normally.
Yeah, exactly. Then you realize it. All right. Well, let's move on to the title story for this week's episode, for part 1 of episode 80, and that is guns and football. And you guys who are hip students of the gun, the guys who have been with us for a long time, especially since last year, you know that I'm pretty much I gave up on the NFL a few years ago. NFL has gone total vagination in my estimation. They started issuing these like pro-statist, anti-gun NFL rules where the first one that popped its ugly head up was up in Cleveland, where the owner of the Cleveland Browns Stadium, that they put out this memorandum that no off-duty police officer would be allowed in the stadium in possession of their weapon, and only on-duty officers who were in the specific capacity of working security at the game were allowed to carry, and no one else was. And forget it if you're a peasant. That's just not going to happen. And we questioned that. We're like, okay, I mean, I get the scared chickens thing about how we can't allow any citizens to carry guns because they're just too dangerous. But the whole an off-duty Cleveland police officer or an off-duty Cuyahoga County sheriff's deputy comes to the game and he's in his plain clothes and they're telling him he's forbidden to have a gun on him because I guess when you're not wearing a polyester uniform, you become a babbling idiot and you can't be trusted anymore. I never understood that. And we called him out on it. And we've called the NFL out on several other things, several other instances of politically correct vagination type bull crap. But this is actually a strike in the opposite direction. This comes through us from KARE11.com. And the title is, Off-Duty Officers May Bring Guns to Vikings Games. What? And the dateline on this is August 14th, 2014. Minneapolis, a court has struck down an NFL policy preventing off-duty Minnesota police officers from bringing their guns to Viking games. 2 police organizations challenged the rule, arguing the NFL policy cannot trump state law. Oh.
That's kind of a big win if the NFL policy cannot trump state law. State law not only applies to police officers, but also citizens.
No, don't get too excited over there, Jared, because if you look at the concealed carry stipulations for pretty much every state, it says may not carry to sporting events.
Not here.
It doesn't say that in
the
Mississippi?
Enhanced one allows
you. Sure?
I'm pretty sure the enhanced one allows you to take to pretty much
sporting
anything
events?
except for government organizations.
Okay. Well, I know in Ohio it does. I know in Ohio it said, no.
Don't quote me on that. I'll have
professional
to look,
sporting events and so forth. But this is probably if the police organizations in basically every other state that has an NFL stadium. All they need to do now, because what did they just do, Jared? What did they set?
A judicial precedent.
So all they have to do is file a motion with the courts in Ohio or New York or Pennsylvania or you name it, where the NFL has said no, off-duty police officers are now idiots because they're not wearing a uniform. And you'd think, you're like, okay, I'm a reasonable guy. I'm sitting out here in America, and I'm a reasonable guy, a reasonable girl. And if you were like a truly, genuinely evil, bad person, and you wanted to mess with America, you wanted to screw with America, and you wanted to do it in a public way, you wanted to make a statement for the world about how evil the infidel Americans are, where would you do it? Maybe at a televised professional sporting event, you think? So if you are the NFL or the NBA or any of these other sporting organizations, you'd think by just shutting your mouth and allowing hundreds, if not thousands, of off-duty police officers to carry their guns, plain clothes, because let's face it, I don't care if you're wearing your polyester uniform or not. If you're a cop, you're a cop. If you're a cop, you notice things. If you're a cop, you know when bad people are doing bad stuff. And, when I was a police officer in Ohio, you're always a police officer. Just because you're not wearing your uniform, that doesn't mean you have to get involved. But at the same time, if something's happening right there in front of you, then you have the legal authority to do something about it.
What if the off-duty police officer runs into somebody that they had previously arrested at the sporting event?
Oh, you mean someone who hates their guts because they sent them to prison for a few years, and now they run into them at the football game?
Yeah, where they know that they're not allowed to carry.
Where they know the
gun.
NFL has disarmed them, and now they can get them.
Yeah,
that would never happen. Oh, it wouldn't? Well, actually, and people, I've talked about it before. I used to see people that I'd previously arrested, in the grocery store when I was out with my family or at a restaurant or what have you. Because believe it or not, bad people don't get arrested and go to jail and stay there. Most of them don't stay there very long, and they release them right back out into the populace, right out there with you guys. And that's recidivist criminals is a topic for another day, but Jared makes a good point. So long story short is we think it's an excellent ruling, obviously, because we're students of the gun, and we think that the original NFL policy was a bunch of namby-pamby political correct bull crap, and that's one of the reasons that I don't follow the NFL anymore, because they have become a bunch of vaginas, and they're not an American sport. I mean, why don't they just paint the football black and white and just kick it around? Seriously, what I mean. And for those of you that are fans of the sport, and you're diehard fans, like, hey man, I'm a diehard fan of the NFL. Look at me in the eye and tell me that the NFL today is the NFL that you fell in love with in 1982 or 1987 or 1972 or whatever. Tell me that it's the same NFL. It's the same quality. Tell me that it is. Look me in the eye and tell me that. Well, I can't really tell you that because it's not, but I still like them. Whatever. Moving on. Go back to your fantasy life. All right, moving on. What do we got next, Jared? Oh, we've got some public school psychological terrorism. Not one instance of psychological terrorism. What did we say, 2 weeks ago? School's back in. It's time to terrorize the children.
Certain teachers who would hurt the children any way they could.
This first story comes to us from, and by the way, thank you to Pink Floyd. This first story comes to us from WLOX.com, and it says, high school student says he was arrested. Hang on a second. Not suspended, not disciplined, not talked to, but arrested for killing a dinosaur in a class assignment. And maybe you've heard of this by now. Probably you have, because it's been around. This is Dateline 8/19/2014. It says a 16-year-old Somerville High School student says he was arrested Tuesday morning and suspended after writing about killing a dinosaur with a gun. Alex Jones said that he and his classmates were told in class to write a few sentences about themselves as a, quote, status, as if it was on a Facebook page. Stone said that in his status, he wrote a fictional story that involved the word gun and taking care of business. He says, I killed my neighbor's pet dinosaur. And then in the next status, he said, I bought the gun to take care of the business. Stone says the statements were taken completely out of context. I could understand if they made him rewrite it because of the word gun, but a pet dinosaur, said Alex's mother, Karen Gray. I mean, first of all, we don't have dinosaurs anymore, and second of all, he's not even old enough to buy a gun. Wow.
I looked up an updated story, and the police station, the Captain John Rogers, left a statement. It says the information that is being reported is grossly incorrect in reference to what led the juvenile to being charged. It says the charges do not stem from anything involving a dinosaur or writing assignment, but the student's conduct. So
What did he do?
Yeah, what I'm getting from this is he was apprehended about what he wrote, and then he got angry because he didn't mean it in that demeanor. And then because he got angry or whatever and didn't want to comply with he didn't want to take it, that's what he wrote.
Yeah, according to there's another story from this is updated, or this was actually updated on August 22nd from WTSP. And it says Alex Stone was taken from class, placed in handcuffs, and charged with disorderly conduct. It says authorities then searched his locker and his backpack and did not find a weapon, according to police. Stone maintained that his story about killing the dinosaur was intended to be a joke. You mean, could it have been taken another way? It says police maintain or say that Stone maintained, he's sticking to his story, that the story about killing a dinosaur was intended to be interpreted as a joke. You mean it wasn't intended to be taken seriously? What?
And how did the police even get involved in this issue?
Oh,
before the parents were called.
Yeah, it says that investigators say that a teacher contacted school officials after seeing the message containing the word gun and taking care of business, and police were then notified.
Well, what about the parents? Because
according to the mom, she said that they did not call her before contacting the police, who arrested her son and charged him with disorderly conduct. Now, hang on a second. Here's the deal, dudes. I don't know what's going on in South Carolina. And first of all, shame the heck on you, South Carolina. I almost went third hour on us. But shame the heck on you, South Carolina. We thought you were better than this, but hey, they're everywhere.
That's what we get for thinking.
That's what we get for thinking. When I was a police officer, disorderly conduct was a minor misdemeanor. And for those of you street corner lawyers out there, a minor misdemeanor, you cannot arrest for a minor misdemeanor unless certain things have occurred. You could cite people for disorderly conduct. Now, you cite people for disorderly conduct, and back when Professor Paul was a cop, the only time you could actually arrest someone for disorderly conduct was if they were unable to what was the verbiage? It was unable to maintain their own safety, or essentially if you had somebody that was a drunk and disorderly, and you could legitimately say that they were unable to make sure that they were safe, take care of their own safety, like they were going to walk out into traffic. Or if they were warned or cited for disorderly conduct and then they repeated that same conduct in your presence, then you could arrest them. And so forth. There's there's only, in my memories, there's 4 specific instances where you could arrest for disorderly conduct. But just a charge of disorderly conduct is not, or at least it wasn't then. I don't know. Maybe they've changed the law. And you street corner lawyers out there, let me know. But your basic disorderly conduct was a ticket only. It was not an arrestable offense. It's kind of like a speeding ticket or what have you. There had to be something else that occurred in order for an arrest to take place. Now, Jared, maybe it could be that they just don't teach that. They don't teach law or the revised code. Maybe they don't teach that to police officers anymore.
I want to know where the headlines are that are police arrest teen for killing dinosaur.
Yeah, for killing fictional dinosaur with fictional gun. So, and now if they back this story up with this kid had been in trouble previously, the kid was argumentative, the kid was yada yada, the kid was on probation, the kid blah 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 blah. If they could back that up with any of that other stuff, then I could see it. But it seems to me that this is just another example of public school terrorism. And the fact that public school teachers have become psychological terrorists. And essentially, your children are forbidden, because the word gun is a bad word now. They could probably say the F word in class and get away with it before they could say gun.
It's like these teachers are reporting these instances because they want to get their 15 minutes of fame on the local news for being a savior.
It's because these teachers, they have an agenda. They have an agenda, and their agenda is guns are bad, and you're not allowed to say the word gun. And they feel like they've been enabled, and let's face it, they are. They've been enabled because no one ever calls them on it. No one ever says, okay, you're an idiot and now you're fired. No, they don't do that. Oh, better safe than sorry. Oh, really? Really, Mr. Reasonable? Better safe than sorry. I would rather be safe. Well, why don't we just subject the kids to cavity searches every morning when they show up in school? Why don't we just do that? So it's better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. Hey, Susie Reasonable, maybe you're a terrorist. I'm going to come in your house and I'm going to go through all your closets each morning just to make sure you're not a terrorist. Is that where we are now in America? Is we're so worried, we're so afraid that there's a terrorist behind every corner. And here's the deal. We know who the actual bad people are, but we're afraid to call out the actual bad people. We know who the people that commit terrorism are.
And they are here.
And they're here, but we're afraid to confront them. We know who the actual criminals are. We see the actual criminals, but we're cowards and we don't want to confront actual criminals. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to terrorize children. We're going to psychologically scar children because we know that the children can't fight back against us.
And the parents won't.
And the parents are afraid. You know, that's something that really annoys me about every one of these stories that comes out, whether it's the Johnny took a little bubble gum machine gun or a picture of a gun or said the word gun. And the parents, they always come out all mealy-mouthed and like, well, I mean, I know he probably shouldn't have done it, but the school overreacted. How about stop being a wimp and freaking take charge of your schools, people? You freaking wimps, you pusses. Can I say pusses in the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say pusses.
And that's one thing that Dad and I were talking about the other day, and he brought up the fact that if more than one person would stand up at these school meetings, rather than the one person standing up and everybody else filming it, if you'd stand up too, then maybe the policies would change.
You go to one of these school board meetings, and instead of being one of these little wussies, one of these little pansies, one of these little comfortable slaves, and sitting there and just nodding your head or scowling, you know, what state was it? New Hampshire, where they arrested the guy for talking out of turn?
Yeah, I don't remember where it was.
Well, and I have to believe that guy wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only person in there. All the parents were supposedly outraged. But that guy stood up, or he spoke out of turn, and the Gestapo came and removed him from the room. Again, another one of those, oh, well, that was disorderly conduct. And again, a police officer does not have to arrest someone for disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct is not an automatic arrest. And sorry, if it hurts your feelings, and if you're a man in blue and you don't like it, that's too bad, because we need to be better than that. And the whole, oh, you spoke out of turn at a school council meeting, so I'm going to arrest you? What?
It's like that guy in, I think it was in Britain, that was quoting.
He quoted Winston Churchill.
Yeah, he
was standing on the street corner quoting Winston Churchill, and the police show up and tell him he has to stop.
They arrested him.
They arrested him?
Yeah.
Because I don't want.
Because there is no First Amendment. That's what happens when
you don't
when
have
the
a Bill of
Second
Rights.
Amendment goes, the First Amendment goes, the Third Amendment goes, the Fourth Amendment. The rest of them go.
Well, not only that, but and like Jared and I were saying, it's like this: the instance where the guy, all the parents ostensibly were outraged, but only one guy stood up, and one guy. I got an idea. How about 50 of you stand up? Are they going to bring in a SWAT team and arrest all 50 of you for speaking out of turn?
Maybe.
Maybe
They will.
You what, it'll be the start of the revolution if they freaking try and arrest 50 parents for speaking out against an abusive school system. Are you really serious, or are you just going to Facebook about it? Are you going to go to your next school board meeting and stand there lock arm with your fellow parents and say, no, you're not going to terrorize our children anymore? But what happens? What have we seen? One person will, and the rest of them are a bunch of scared little freaking sheep. Like, well, I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be the one. Well, do something. Well, you don't understand, Paul. I can't just take my kids out. No, you can, but you won't, because it would inconvenience you and it would make you uncomfortable. So I don't know. I'm sick of it. And this next one, we're not even done yet with the terrorism.
If you think that story was ridiculous, wait for this one.
Well, you probably heard it by now because it's been everywhere. And when I first saw it, I thought, okay, this has got to be taken out. When I see stuff on the internet, I'm leery of it. I don't believe everything that's on the internet, believe it or not. But after the second, third, fourth, fifth time I saw this, I was like, okay, I have to look at it. And this comes to us from sunnewsnetwork.ca. And it says, a high school student in Charlotte. Now, hang on, Jared. Is this Charlotte, North Carolina?
I don't know. It's coming from California News.
No, CA is Canada.
Oh,
.ca is Canada. But verify that this is North Carolina.
Let me check.
Because there is more than one Charlotte. It says a high school student in Charlotte says she was suspended for saying, bless you, after a fellow student sneezed, a violation of a class rule. Kendra Turner told local television station WMC that her teacher said the term was for church, and she said that's not going to, and she said that we're not going to have godly speaking in her class, and that's what I said. That's when I said we have a constitutional right. Rock the freak on there, Kendra.
Dude. You're never going to guess where this happened.
Where?
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yep.
Charlotte, Tennessee?
Yeah, there's 3 sources here that say Tennessee student.
Oh, my Lord.
Kendra Turner.
That's crazy.
This one's an ABC affiliate.
Turner's parents were allegedly...
Dyer County, Tennessee.
Allegedly told that their daughter shouted, bless you, across the room, and it was a distraction. Really?
It said that there was a class rule. So the teacher made this rule. It wasn't
right.
It wasn't the school, but they're upholding this teacher's decision to make this rule.
There were several students who were talking about the particular faculty member there and was very demeaning to them regarding their faith. So here we go again. We have a teacher who has decided on their own that they're going to inflict upon these children that you're not allowed to talk about. Can we talk about Allah in class now? I bet you if somebody said Aloha Snack Bar in class that this teacher wouldn't have said anything. And I'm sorry, folks, but and if you are a Christian, if you're a person who considers yourself someone of faith, and you don't have a problem with what's going on in America, if you want to consider yourself, well, I'm a reasonable person, and I understand that you should only be allowed. Show me. All right, first of all, if you're doing Common Core, what we've seen is they've changed the Bill of Rights in Common Core now. According to the Common Core textbooks, the First Amendment states that there is a separation of church and state. Of course, that's not the thing that I've ever read. How about you, Jared? You ever read the First Amendment and it doesn't say the words separation of church and state in the First Amendment?
Nope.
The words separation of church and state do not exist in the United States Constitution. Step number 1, quit believing the crap that's fed to you. Step number 2, it does not say anywhere in the Constitution that you're forbidden to express your religious beliefs in public. The commissar does not own the sidewalk. Go on, Jared.
There have been several cases where these happened in colleges where students had sued the school because their professors were demeaning to their faith, or they were given disciplinary action because of their faith.
Yeah, what we've got in the United States of America is everyone in America has civil rights except white Christian males, or in this case, white Christian females. Everybody has civil rights. And Look at the what just happened where this, Jared, where you were telling me about the civil rights people jumped in and they're like, oh, we have to defend the civil rights of such and such. But I don't ever see the ACLU jumping in to defend the rights of little teenage white Christian girls. Oh, we're not worried about that. It's more psychological terrorism. It is coming from the public school systems, and you got a choice. Either get your kids out of these schools, take control of the schools back from the statists, from the liberal statists who are looking to brainwash and indoctrinate your children. Yes, I said brainwash. Yes, I said indoctrinate. Tell me how making a policy forbidding any godly talk and saying bless you, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're going to call a federal case, and here's the deal. So this teacher, this whack job teacher, has decided that you're forbidden to say bless you in her class. Okay, fine. How does that lead to a suspension? So the administration, okay, teachers can't suspend students. You know that, right? It has to go through the school administration. So the school administration is so freaking spineless that they're going to do that? They're going to issue a suspension for saying bless you?
And have you guys that can hear my voice, have you noticed a trend in this nation has consistently got worse and worse and worse and worse? And what has also happened? God has been taken away from everything in this nation. And how are we going to fix this? Are we going to fix it by letting stuff like this happen, or are we going to bring God back into it?
I can kind of understand, So you have to hide now. If you're a Christian, you have to hide your faith. If you're a non-Christian, if you're anything else, well, you can shout it from the street corner, and no one can say anything to you because you're protected. But you're not protected. Apparently, maybe Kathy Blake or Kathy, what's her name, in Maryland. Maybe she issued a ruling that says everyone has First Amendment protections except Caucasian Christian people, and then you don't.
So we're coming up on the end of this episode here. So what are we going to propose?
Well,
our high school students that listen to us, and I know there are quite a few of them, what are you going to say when somebody sneezes?
Well, maybe you should just say Aloha Snack Bar when someone sneezes. Maybe that could be the compromise.
There you go. And say Aloha Snack Bar.
Aloha Snack Bar.
And if you want to get the reference, check the show notes for this week.
That's right. Aloha Snack Bar. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget about Student of the Gun TV. We already talked about it, but it's on Dish Channel 266, 9 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget, Jared wants you to rate the app. If you guys have downloaded the mobile app, whether from iTunes or Google.
And if you haven't, go do that.
Yeah. If you do that, would you do us a favor? Do Jared a favor, because he's the webmaster guru guy behind the scenes there. If and when you go ahead and do that from either the Google Play Store or your iTunes feed.
And the app is simply Student of the Gun.
Yep, Student of the Gun. Do us a favor and give us a rating.
Preferably 5 stars.
Yeah, preferably.
But you could rate it any way you want. That way I know what to change.
If you don't do it 5 stars, you're really you're shortchanging yourself, right? Don't forget about and we tease you with it, but don't forget about the bonus third hour. A lot of you guys have jumped into the bonus third hour, and we announced it last week, but we're going to go ahead and touch on it again this week. Anyone for the next 30 days, anyone who signs up for the bonus third hour of Student of the Gun Radio, Jared is going to send you the Student of the Gun ebook for free.
Not 30 days. That was last week.
Okay, 30 days from last week.
Yeah, so you've really only got 3 weeks left.
Okay, you got 3 weeks left. So
and those 3 weeks are going to go by pretty fast.
That's right. So don't wait. You don't want to miss the third hour, right, Jared?
Right. Dad kind of goes off the hook a little bit, and we've had several requests for more off the hook. So I think we're going to do that.
Apparently, people want more off the hook, so we were going to do that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check us out on Roku, Apple TV, and Chromecast as well. So if you guys are out there sitting in front of your smart TVs, you can watch Student of the Gun on your little smart TV. Until next time, we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to come back with part 2. And in part 2, we're going to talk about fighting solves everything. Ooh, you want to be there. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you? A beginner once, a student for life.